Good afternoon and welcome to CVM Live, the noon edition on CVM Television, online at cvmtv.com. And remember, you can download our CVM TV Smart app from the Google Play Store. I'm Whitney Levy. Former politician Kern Spencer's father is currently hospitalized after being shot by gunmen at his Balaclava home in St. Elizabeth on Wednesday night. Spencer says his father was able to defend himself, which might have saved his life.
I received a phone call from my smaller brother, Dr. Dwayne Spencer, at about 8:30 yesterday evening, indicating that Dad was on his way to the hospital. Upon reaching the Black River Hospital, I got the chance to talk with him. He indicated to me that he was leaving his business place, and upon reaching to his home in Russell Heights, he was opening the grill to get inside his house. A masked gunman approached him from the side of the house, uttered an expletive, and immediately opened fire on him.
He said the gunman was not able to hurt his younger brother, who witnessed the incident while in his father's car.
So he had no alternative. He had to go underneath Daddy's car to protect himself, and he stayed there until the shots stopped firing. When the gunman shot my father, and he started to defend himself, I think they were taken by surprise. Probably they did not know that he was the holder of a firearm. So when he returned fire, they ran in surprise.
He says it is a miracle that his father is still alive, but the rise in crime in St. Elizabeth needs to be controlled. Houses were firebombed in a corporate area community this morning. Early information is that a number of persons are now without a roof over their head as a result of the fire. We'll have more on this story in CVM Live, the evening edition. The building used as Cherry Hill Post Office in Portland was destroyed by fire Wednesday morning. The assistant superintendent attached to the Port Antonio Fire Station says they received the call about 2:50 a.m. on Wednesday. A fire unit arrived on the scene shortly after, where they observed the entire building engulfed in flames.
One medium jet was immediately brought into operation to extinguish the fire. Presently, we are carrying out investigation, and the loss at the moment to this premises is estimated of over $2 million.
Investigations to ascertain the cause of the fire continue. Minister of Tourism Edmund Bartlett says the current state of public emergency in St. James is not affecting visitor arrivals to the country. Speaking at the Prime Minister's quarterly press briefing at Jamaica House on Wednesday, the minister said he and his team are continuing to aggressively market the country as an ideal destination. He pointed out that while there have been some jitteriness and skittishness in the market, the country's tourism partners understand that there is a need to achieve the objective of providing safe, secure, and seamless arrangements for visitors to the island, which the state of public emergency will help to accomplish. The minister further informed that a comprehensive program has been developed with the ministry's public relations team and partners from the three major markets: the United States, Canada, and the United Kingdom. Bishop Rowan Edwards led a march through Spanish Town Bus Park, where he called for an end to the murders in Spanish Town and for gunmen to turn themselves over to the church. CVM Live's Joel Croskill reports.
Bishop Rowan Edwards, chairman of the Spanish Town Revival, led hundreds of congregants through the bus park in Spanish Town, calling out for peace in Jamaica.
Gunmen! Put up your gun! Sell your gun! Get work! Stop the wickedness! It's not right! It is the church's response!
He expressed frustration at the over 100 murders that were committed in Spanish Town during the course of 2017.
We are fed up of the wickedness that is taking place in our country. 1,600 plus people have been killed across our country. In Spanish Town alone, 135. Of course, it dipped last year by at least 12%. But 12% is not good enough for Spanish Town. Our bus park is stained with blood. Taxi drivers are being wiped out. And we cannot continue like this.
The bishop also had a message to the gunmen that continue to terrorize sections of Spanish Town.
I'm saying to you gunmen, What good is this doing to you? It's only helping you. It's not helping your community. They're mashing up our town, man. And the church across Spanish Town and across this country is praying against you. And we are saying you better repent. You better come and know God. If I catch you, I won't give it to the police. Let me tell you what I'll do with you. I'll have you baptized. Give me a gun and I'll give you a Bible.
He is calling on citizens across the island to play a proactive role in driving the criminal scourge from their hiding places.
It is totally wrong. Come on, church, say it's wrong. It's wrong. It's wrong. It's wrong for people to be killing off one another. It's time for us to live as one. Why just a few men killing off the masses? And the masses keep quiet and watch the mayhem taking place. I'm calling all Jamaicans, let's rise up from Negril Point to Moran Point. Let's block our streets and call back this country to sanity.
Joel Crossgill, CVM Live.
Prime Minister Andrew Holness says failure to meet the 5 in 4 aspiration will not be a setback for the government. Speaking at the quarterly press briefing on Wednesday, the Prime Minister says the government will continue to create projections for the economy to grow.
Failure to meet the growth target is everyone's failure. It's everyone's loss. But it does not stop us from aspiring, from setting targets that we know we may not reach, but there are targets that stretch us.
Holness admits that the crime rate has impacted this projection as the state of emergency continues in St. James. He says if the growth target is not met, the Planning Institute of Jamaica will formulate new strategies.
I still maintain that we could very well hit that 5 in 4, and we're working towards it. Because the moment I stop saying we change the projection, that's like sending a signal to all the agents in the system, reduce your effort. No, the signal is keep your effort going. Keep your effort going. That's what the 5 in 4 is about. And it's still a little bit disturbing, people lining up to say, see it fail. It's as if you're wishing Jamaica to fail.
The legal battle between Director of Elections Oret Fisher and the Electoral Commission of Jamaica came to a standstill yesterday following the revelation of a conflict of interests. CVM Live's Nicoy Wilson reports.
Director of Elections Oret Fisher is challenging the Electoral Commission of Jamaica as he says his one-year appointment as the election boss was illegal because the law clearly states that the appointment must be for 7 years. His challenge comes after his contract was set to expire on October 31, 2017. The matter was delayed on Wednesday following the disclosure of Justice N. Simmons of her friendship with Solicitor General Nicole Foster Pusey. Mr. Fisher's attorney Hugh Wildman commended Justice Simmons for the revelation and consulted with his client to ascertain if he would be willing to move forward with the matter. Mr. Wildman said his client was uncomfortable with the idea, citing that it would not be in the interest of justice if Simmons remained as the presiding judge. The Solicitor General in her response said the legal fraternity is very small and so it is likely that judges and attorneys would know each other. Soon after, Mr. Wildman indicated that his client, who seemed eager to have the matter heard immediately, was willing to proceed with Justice Simmons as the presiding judge. However, Justice Simmons decided not to proceed because Mr. Fisher had already expressed reservations. She says there must never be any question of bias, and if she proceeds, then it would be unnecessarily cumbersome. Immediately following this decision, the clerk of the court was sent to the registrar to find out if any judge present in the precinct would be able to deal with the matter. When the clerk returned, she indicated that the registrar was requesting the file. No sooner than the clerk attempted to leave the courtroom did Mrs. Foster Pusey say that it would be very inconveniencing for a judge to receive the matter to deal with at this time, a point with which Mr. Wildman agreed. Subsequently, the hearing has been set for February 26. Nicoy Wilson, CVM Live.
On the international scene, Cyril Ramaphosa, the new leader of South Africa's ruling ANC, says President Zuma is feeling anxious about his future. His term in office is not scheduled to end until elections in 2019, but there have been calls for him to be replaced by Mr. Ramaphosa immediately. The BBC tells us more.
The key message he wants to bring to all the world's assembled business leaders here is please come and invest in South Africa, because the economy really hasn't been doing very well under 10 years of Jacob Zuma, and the IMF boss Christine Lagarde actually revised the forecast for growth in the South African economy downwards, citing political uncertainty. So Cyril Ramaphosa knows that what he's got to do is bring about some kind of political certainty. The key question is, how does he do that when the person at the helm of South Africa PLC is Jacob Zuma, a man around whom many corruption allegations and allegations of cronyism have been swirling for quite a while. So I said to Cyril Ramaphosa, how are you going to try to reassure investors and say, look, there is a new South Africa in the making? And this is what he said to me.
A new dawn is on the horizon. We are now involved in a new era in South Africa. There's a new leadership. And this new leadership is just barely a month old in its position. And we are dealing with this matter. And obviously, the key matter that everyone wants to see addressed is the tenure that President Zuma still has to serve out. Constitutionally speaking, he still has 18 months. And within this 18 months, obviously, a lot of things can happen. But he and I have agreed that we are going to be meeting regularly to discuss matters, but it dictates, and by definition, it means that in the course of this, we're also going to discuss the transition. How long is it going to last?
How is he feeling? Is he under pressure? Is he feeling very anxious? He must be, with all this stuff swirling around him.
Well, obviously. I mean, any normal human being would be anxious, would be concerned about all this. So he is naturally feeling anxious, and he wants matters to be handled in a way that, you know, they will be handled carefully. And I'm saying my key interest is to move the country forward.
Still on the international scene, veteran U.S. diplomat Bill Richardson has resigned from an international panel set up by Myanmar leader Aung San Suu Kyi to advise on the Rohingya crisis. Again, here's the BBC.
Bill Richardson clearly felt that the panel that he was a part of was ineffective. He's described how he felt it didn't have a mandate, that it wasn't addressing the real issues, but he could have resigned more quietly. He's somebody who used to visit Aung San Suu Kyi as far back as the early 1990s when she was under house arrest, and has remained engaged, deeply engaged in Myanmar, with a lot of projects here as well. It's a very detailed statement. He describes her as having an arrogance of power, of being trapped in a bubble surrounded by sycophants and psychopaths, telling her what she wants to hear. And said he was taken aback by the hostility that she and other officials showed towards international organizations, the media, the UN, human rights groups, blaming them for the trouble in Rakhine State, and felt an conscience, he said, that he simply couldn't continue in his role. He's actually said that she is, in effect, parroting the generals, that she's speaking their language and not speaking up at all for the things that she once said she once believed in. And that's why he says he's so disappointed, that he expected her to show some moral leadership. He accepted that she's in a difficult position, but he said there's no excuse for not showing any leadership at all. So the picture he paints is of a very isolated leader.
With that, we take a break on CVM Live, the noon edition. Do stay with us.